Hi, in this video I'll be showing you this. It's the PrettyCare W100 Cordless Vacuum Cleaner, and what I want to do today is to get it unboxed, show you around the vacuum and some of the features and benefits that it offers, and also we'll give it a test, give you a quick demonstration of it, see how well it performs. But all I normally say first of all is please subscribe to my YouTube channel, just give us a quick thumbs up. What I do is I talk about household appliances, things like cordless vacuums are my speciality, and there's normally a bit of tech in there as well. So just give us a quick subscribe, then we'll carry on. So when you first open the box, you see you've got the instructions on top. Now I won't go through all the instructions, but it's just saying, congrats, you are lucky. And what they're doing is they're inviting you to be part of the PrettyCare Life VIP. That's something that I've had a quick look, and it looks really good. You can extend it to a 5-year warranty on the vacuum, so also saying you get a VIP gift as well. Just follow the steps, follow the work, go onto the website, register the vacuum, and then claim your VIP gift. So that's something that's really worth doing. I'm really impressed with that. And also it's got some information on the inside here. It's just going through some of the terms and conditions. So you've got things like a 30-day money back guarantee if you're not happy with it, 90-day free replacement for any damage. So there's quite a few things on there, and to be fair, I'm really impressed with that. Instructions are not normally my forte. I'm not normally a huge fan of instructions. I normally like to find things out by myself, and if I really get stuck, then I'll revert to the instructions. So yeah, we'll get this unboxed. I suppose first of all we've got a filter. I have seen that there are 2 filters within the vacuum, and personally I think that's a really good idea, and I'll explain why in a couple of minutes. The actual vacuum itself feels really sturdy actually. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but as I say, it feels pretty solid. I do like the colours on here. I do like the grey and the red and the silver on the top. Let's see what's next. So we've got some of the tools coming out next. That's like a brush and an upholstery kind of tool. Charger, pretty important, being a cordless product. I'm glad to see it's got a 3-pin plug on it. I only mention that because some products are arriving with a 2-pin plug and an adapter, which to be fair I'm not normally a huge fan of. This looks like it's to do with the wall bracket. We'll just pop that to the side and have a look in a moment. And we've got the main wand here. So again, a really nice colour to match the main unit. So we've got this is an extendable pole as well. So that's something that not many manufacturers do. So it's really good to see it on this vacuum. We've got a Crevice Tool. And we've got the main floor head. I have seen this and it does actually look very good. It's quite a wide head as well. And the main advantage of having a wider head is that it covers a larger surface area, so you're not having to vacuum for so long. So let's pop that there. And then the last thing in the box is going to be the battery. So again, that's separate to the vacuum. And again, I'm really happy they put the battery and the vacuum separately. There's nothing worse than having a vacuum cleaner with a battery built in, because what that means is if the battery goes or starts to die, then it means that the whole thing is redundant and you'll need to replace it all. But at least at this stage, by having this separate battery, then if you wanted to replace the battery or even get a spare one, then you've got that ability. So I think what I'll do is I'll get everything clear here, get rid of the boxes and the polythene bags, and then we'll have a look at the vacuum. So now we've got everything in a box, then I can show you the vacuum itself. As I mentioned earlier, the battery is separate. So first thing you need to do is to pop this onto the vacuum. And the best way to look is, if you have a look, just look in there, you'll see you've got the connectors at the top. You've got the battery terminals that will be connected to the battery. So just pop that in there and it clicks into place, and that's it. It does arrive partly charged, so what we'd normally recommend is just get the charger, give it a good charge before you start to use it. Apparently it's a charge full, so if it's completely flat it takes between 3 and 4 hours. Clearly it's going to depend if there's some charge in the battery already. As far as charging it, you've got the charger here. As I mentioned earlier, that's clearly arrives with a vacuum cleaner, and that just plugs into the back. So that's nice and easy, that just pops in. On this vacuum you get around 35-minute run time, which, to be fair, for the price on this is very good. I know something I don't enjoy doing, vacuuming, so if I needed to do it for much longer than half an hour, then to be fair I get quite bored. But as far as the run time, so as I just mentioned, 35 minutes. Clearly that's going to be on the minimum suction. What you will find is you have got the maximum suction as well. So I'll just show you that. So the on and off button is at the back. So all you do is you just press that on and off, as I just did then. That kind of design is something that manufacturers are starting to move towards. If you go back 2 or 3 years, then quite a few manufacturers are using the trigger-based system. And to be fair, it can work, but there's a lot of people that don't really like that kind of design. They just prefer an on and off button or a switch to really to make life easier. You don't want to have your finger on the trigger all the time. So again, I'm glad that PrettyCare have decided to put it as an on and off switch, and it's out of the way. You're not going to knock it when you're using the vacuum. What you'll also find is that you have got the maximum and minimum option here as well. And what I mean by that, I'll just show you. So hopefully you heard there's quite a difference there, and what you'll find is that the suction will vary. So as you go to the maximum suction, then the performance of the pickup will be a lot better, but clearly you're not going to get the 35-minute run time if you're going to use the maximum suction. So I suppose personally what I'd recommend, if you're on things like hard floors, then try and stick with the minimum suction, then you'll get a really long run time. If there is an area, say on carpet, that is quite a stubborn area, the example I normally use is things like a dried muddy footprint. I've got 2 kids at home, and on the odd occasion where they've had say a dry boot or a boot that's come in and it's a bit muddy on the front doorstep, then if we've not noticed and if we've not cleared it up, then sometimes it can dry. And that kind of thing is really good for the maximum suction, just to really get into the carpet to get the muddy footprint up. So when it comes to emptying the bin, again, very easy. All you need to do is just press the button on the front here, and the flap will drop down, and then the dirt will come out. And then if you just want to carry on vacuuming, pop that up, and then you can carry on. That kind of thing I'd always recommend doing outside. You can empty these bins into a normal inside bin, but I would personally always recommend doing that kind of thing outside. The bin capacity on this is around 1.2 litres, so it is a big bin, especially if you're comparing other models around this price range, then you'll find those bins are quite a lot smaller. What you'll also find is you can take the bin apart. So if you want to, you'll see there's a couple of symbols on the side here. So if we just twist the bin, it's only a small amount, then the whole bin arrangement comes off. Just pop that to the side, and then you've got the filter inside. That just comes apart. What's really good is on this can all be cleaned. You will find when they're brand new, I suppose the same with any cordless vacuum or any vacuum cleaner actually, when they're brand new and the see-through perspex like this, then they always look very smart. And what you'll find is if you don't maintain or don't clean them that often, then after a while they don't start to look that great on the inside. So that's something that's really good. You've also got the filters in here. So you've got if you just twist that, then the filter comes out. Now what I'd normally recommend, if you have followed me on YouTube for a while, when I'm talking about vacuum cleaners as a whole, it's not just cordless vacuums, is when you buy a vacuum to go and buy a spare filter. And the main reason for that, because these are washable, which is always a good idea. So when you go and wash this, you normally need to leave the filter to dry for around 24 hours. Now some people will think, well, I'll just put it on the side for a couple of hours, then I'll carry on vacuuming. but the danger is that what will happen is that you will actually damage the vacuum, because if there's any kind of moisture within the filter, then that'll go through to the motor and it can damage it. And it doesn't matter what warranty the vacuum cleaner manufacturer offers, that won't be covered if it's water damage. So that's why I'd always recommend going to buy a spare filter, and what you can do is you can give that a wash, put it on the side for at least 24 hours, and then put the other spare filter into the vacuum. But PrettyCare have already thought of that, and as I mentioned earlier when unboxing it, we've got a spare filter as well. So I'm really glad that they've put 2 filters in here. What you'll find is that when it comes to putting it back together, it's also very easy. You just pop that in and twist it. Oh, by the way, this is all washable as well. So even the outer shroud of the filter. What I normally recommend is sometimes I'll either just give it a quick rinse, but most of the time just get things like a paintbrush, so dry paintbrush, brush it around, or get a microfiber cloth. They tend to be really good for getting the things like this clean. And the same goes with the bin. Often, I suppose, if originally I would have said that you can wash a lot of these. Some manufacturers have things like electrical connections within here, so it's something I haven't tended to recommend recently. So I suppose what I tend to recommend now is just getting a dry or even a damp microfiber cloth. Just give it a wipe out, and then as you drop that in there, that just sits in there nicely, so you don't need to do anything else. So all we're doing is just locating the 2 zeros. You'll see you've got the 2 zeros, you've got one on the bin and one on the main unit, and then just here you've got the padlock symbol. So all you need to do is just, as I say, locate those, give it a cheeky little twist, and then you're ready to go. So now I'll cover the tools and accessories that the W100 arrives with. Now first of all, this is the main floor head. You will notice at the bottom here it's it's very soft bristle brush. I suppose a lot of these vacuums now are designed for things like hard floors or short pile carpets. They're not recommended as much for longer pile carpets, so it doesn't matter what kind of hard floor you've got, whether it's wood, laminate, tiles, ceramic, vinyl. There's a whole range of different types of floor, but you'll find this kind of head is ideal for any of those. At some point you might want to take the brush out to clean it. I suppose for several reasons. First of all, just general maintenance. But also if you have got, say, animals in the house that molt, or if you've got people or members of the family that are the molt, they could do, or if they've got long hair, then what you could find is that if it gets wrapped around here, then what you want to do is you want to take it out easily. And what PrettyCare have done is they have made that job very easy for us. So you just got a switch on the side here, and if you press that down, then that comes out. So really, really easy. Some manufacturers used to have the option of putting a coin in or a screwdriver. It was quite a laborious task to remove the roller head, but this is really, really easy on this model. All you do is you just pop that back in and then just click it in. So really, really easy. Now the pole, or the wand, depending on what you want to call it, that the W100 arrives with is really interesting, and the reason I mention that is that you can actually extend it if you want to. So a standard, this is 43 centimeters long, but if you press the button here, then it extends, and that goes to 68 centimeters. And you can go in between if you want to, so it doesn't have to be one or the other. If you wanted it halfway, then you've got that option. And the main reason I mention that, and I suppose the reason it's quite interesting, is first of all, not many manufacturers do it. I'm not saying PrettyCare are the only ones that do it, because they're not. But a lot of the other manufacturers have chosen not to do it at the moment. I'm not saying they won't look at this design and go, actually that's a really good idea. But the main advantage is if you're using it as a handheld vacuum, sometimes what you want to do is you just want to, say, get some cobwebs up, or if you want to reach, say, on top of a cupboard, you don't necessarily need the full length of the pole. So at least having the option to reduce that is a really good idea. As I mentioned, the tools, so the different tools they come with. First of all, you've got the standard Crevice Tool. To be fair, this is pretty standard on most vacuum cleaners now. That's a really good one for getting into tight spots, say down the side of a sofa, if you're doing your car, down the side of your car seat. So that's really the main one to use. Here you have got a double action tool. So this one is like a mini upholstery brush, and then if you press the button on top, then what will happen is that will click forward and you've got a much softer bristle brush. I suppose the best example of using that is if you're, for example here, I mean we've got in our showroom we've got a like kitchen and we've got some displays. For example, if we had a hob, what you can do is if you spilt something around the hob, then that's quite a good one to use because it's nice and soft, so it's not going to damage the hob at all. When I'm talking to people about cordless vacuums, then something I normally get into the conversation is where is it going to be stored? For now, majority of the people do say that they're going to mount it on the wall, so clearly having a wall bracket for it is really important. And the main reason I mention that is because some of the wall brackets that manufacturers are making are quite big and quite cumbersome. They do vary a lot. Some of them you sort of slot in and then it drops into place. Some of them you put on. Some of them even have like a magnet at the back. But to be fair, some of those haven't been that successful. So what PrettyCare have done is they've come up with a really simple solution, and it's this. And I must admit, when I was unpacking it, and you might have heard at the beginning of the video, I wasn't sure if this was the wall bracket. That's really the smallest wall bracket I've ever seen, and I was looking for something else to go with it, but that's it. And I must say, it works. When I first saw it, first thing that sprang to my mind is a flux capacitor. I'm showing my age now. Now if you're not really sure what a flux capacitor is, then you might have to go and Google it. But what this does is, so you got the vacuum itself, and there's just a little slot at the back there that just drops on and it sits in place like that, and that's it. That's really simple. Now as far as putting that on the wall, we have got a couple of options. You have got a double-sided sticky pad. Personally, I wouldn't recommend just using that. You probably can use that just to locate it. There is a little hole in the middle that you just take out. So you just take that out and then you can stick that onto the wall. But personally, I'd recommend if you are going to use that, then you use these as well. So you've got the screws and some wall plugs as well. So just make sure that your wall that you're putting it in is suitable. It might be a case if it's say a normal plasterboard wall or a hollow wall, then you might need some different fixings to put it on. So now I've got a couple of things I want to try, and the first one I'm going to use is using it as a handheld. So I'm going to use the Crevice Tool, and what I've done is I've got some porridge oats on the worktop. I suppose at home that tends to be something that we eat a lot of. We do eat a lot of porridge oats, and on the odd occasion, especially when the kids are doing it, then they can spill some, and they're little monkeys for tidying up after themselves. So this is something I'm quite used to. So what I'm going to do on this demonstration, I'm going to use the vacuum on the minimum suction, just really to see how well it performs. I know it's quite easy to do it on the maximum suction, but I suppose on this kind of scenario, then this really should be done on the minimum. Yeah, well that was easy. As you can see, all of my porridge oats are going around the bin at the moment. So again, that was on the minimum suction, and I'm really impressed. And the next demonstration, what I've done is I've put some more porridge oats on this floor. So this is a carpeted floor. To be fair, although the pile is quite short, it's quite a wiry finish, so sometimes some vacuums do struggle with this. But what I will do is I will have this on the maximum suction just to see how we get on. Well, it didn't struggle at all. Yet again, very impressed with it. You will also notice, and I did forget to mention earlier, that you have got some cheeky little LED lights at the front. So just at the front there, you've got some LED lights that light up. So if you choose to vacuum for example in the dark, then if that's your thing, then this could be the vacuum for you. Also, if you're going under, say, a dining room table or a bed or something that where it's dark underneath, then having the LED lights can be a really good thing to have. So if you're as impressed as I am with this, and if you're thinking of buying one of these, then I have provided a link below to show you where to get one at a competitive price. I hope you enjoyed the quick video on the PrettyCare W100 Cordless Vacuum Cleaner. Please give us a thumbs up on the YouTube video, click subscribe and leave any comments below. I'd always ask for comments, whether it's good or bad, about the video. I'm not sure if there's anything that I've missed, but hopefully I've pretty much covered everything. If you have got any questions on the vacuum, if there's something that I have missed, then just pop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Also, if you have got one of these, then let me know what you think about it. Be honest, because I'd always appreciate the feedback. Anyway, thanks for watching.